What would you do if a stranger showed up at your door, claiming your home was hers, with a smug grin and a stack of forged papers? That's exactly what happened to me, Daniel Harper, on a blistering July afternoon in 2025, when Karen stormed onto our Montana ranch like a tornado with a vendetta. My wife, Colonel Abigail Voss, was away on duty, and I was alone, tending to our horses under the wide, unyielding sky. Little did Karen know, she wasn't just picking a fight with a rancher, she was crossing a woman who held the keys to secrets that could shake the world. Our ranch, a sprawling 200 acres of rolling hills and whispering pines, was our sanctuary. Abigail and I had built it from nothing, pouring our savings and souls into every fence post and barn beam. She was my rock, a woman of quiet strength, whose military career demanded she keep her true power hidden. To the world, she was just Abby, the horse-loving wife of a small-town guy. To the Pentagon, she was Colonel Voss, a U.S. Air Force commander with top-tier nuclear clearance, entrusted with decisions that could alter the course of nations. I knew her as both, and loved her fiercely for it. Karen arrived in a gleaming SUV, her blonde bob immaculate, her designer sunglasses glinting with entitlement. She marched up to our porch, waving a document that looked official enough to fool most. "This property is mine," she declared, her voice sharp as a whip. "I bought it last month. You have 48 hours to vacate, or I'll have the sheriff drag you out." I stood there, sweat-soaked from mucking stalls, staring at this woman who thought she could rewrite our lives with a piece of paper. I tried to explain calmly at first that the ranch wasn't for sale, that she'd been scammed. But Karen didn't listen. She sneered, called me a squatter, and promised to return with law enforcement. I called Abigail that night, expecting her to laugh off the absurdity. Instead, her voice was steel. "I'm coming home," she said. "Don't engage her until I'm there." I didn't know it then, but Abigail wasn't just coming to defend our home, she was preparing to dismantle Karen's entire world. The next morning, Karen was back, this time with a deputy in tow. Deputy Mark Reynolds, a local I'd known since high school, looked uncomfortable as Karen ranted about her rights. I showed him our deed, our tax records, every shred of proof that the ranch was ours. Mark nodded, apologetic, but Karen wasn't having it. "These are fakes," she screamed, jabbing a manicured finger at me. "I paid good money for this land." I wanted to ask who she'd paid, but her fury drowned out reason. Mark promised to look into it, but Karen's confidence was unshaken. She planted herself on our porch, vowing to stay until we left. That's when things got strange. A beat-up pickup truck rattled up our drive, kicking up dust. Out stepped an older man, maybe 60, with weathered hands and a nervous twitch. He introduced himself as Earl, a retired real estate agent from Billings. "I heard about this mess," he said, glancing at Karen. "I think I know who sold her that fake deed." Earl wasn't just a random Good Samaritan, was the twist in our story. A man haunted by a past mistake. Years ago, he'd worked with a shady developer named Victor Klein, who'd been forging land titles across Montana. Earl had quit when he realized Victor's scams, but not before unwittingly helping him sell a few fraudulent plots. Our ranch, it seemed, was Victor's latest target. Earl's confession hit Karen like a slap. For the first time, her smug facade cracked. "You're lying," she snapped, but her voice trembled. Earl didn't back down. He pulled out old emails, proof of Victor's schemes, and offered to testify if it came to court. I expected Karen to fold, to slink back to her SUV and disappear. Instead, she doubled down. "I don't care who sold it," she hissed. "This ranch is mine, and I'm not leaving." She stormed off, promising to return with a lawyer. Abigail arrived that evening, her military fatigues swapped for jeans and a flannel shirt, but her presence carried the weight of command. She listened to my recounting of Karen's threats, her eyes narrowing with a fire I rarely saw. "She doesn't know who she's dealing with," Abigail said, her voice low. I thought she meant our legal standing, but there was something else, something bigger brewing in her mind. The next day, Karen returned with a lawyer, a slick guy named Greg who reeked of cheap cologne and cheaper ethics. They presented a new set of documents, claiming a clerical error had invalidated our deed. Greg smirked as he handed me an eviction notice. "You're done here, Mr. Harper," he said. Abigail stepped forward, her calm unnerving. "You're making a mistake," she told Greg. "Walk away now, and you might avoid the consequences." Greg laughed, but Karen's eyes flickered with doubt. What happened next was something I'll never forget. Abigail excused herself to make a call. 30 minutes later, 2 black SUVs rolled up, government plates gleaming. Men in suits stepped out, one flashing a badge that made Greg's face go pale. "Colonel Voss," the lead agent said, nodding to Abigail. "We've got your back." They handed Karen and Greg a cease and desist order from the Department of Defense, citing national security. Karen's jaw dropped. "Who the hell are you?" she demanded. Abigail didn't flinch. "I'm the woman who's been protecting this country while you've been trying to steal my home," she said. "This ranch is under my name, and I'm a U.S. Air Force commander with nuclear clearance. You've just threatened federal property." The words landed like a missile. Karen's bravado crumbled as the agents explained that her purchase was part of a larger investigation into Victor Klein's fraud ring. Greg, sensing the tide turning, abandoned Karen, muttering about client misrepresentation. But the real twist came from Earl. As the agents questioned Karen, he pulled me aside. "There's more to this," he whispered. He dug deeper into Victor's network and found Karen wasn't just a victim she'd been working with Victor, knowingly pushing fraudulent claims to extort landowners. She wasn't the clueless Karen she played. She was a predator, banking on intimidation to win. Earl's evidence texts, bank records sealed her fate. The agents cuffed her, her designer sunglasses clattering to the ground as she screamed about her rights. I thought that was the end, that justice had prevailed. But Abigail's face told a different story. That night, as we sat on the porch, stars burning above, she confessed something that broke my heart. "I've been recalled," she said. "The Pentagon's worried this incident exposed my identity. They're reassigning me to a classified base indefinitely." Her voice cracked, the weight of her duty crushing the life we'd built. The ranch, our dream, would have to be sold. Karen's scheme had failed, but it had cost us everything. Abigail's clearance, her silent burden, meant she could never stay. We held each other as the Montana wind howled, carrying away the future we'd planned. Karen faced prison, Victor's empire was collapsing, and Earl found redemption in exposing them. But for us, the victory was hollow. The ranch was ours, but only for a moment longer. Abigail's service to her country, her unbreakable resolve, had saved our home only to tear it from us. As dawn broke, I looked at her, my commander, my wife, and knew I'd follow her anywhere. But the ranch, our heart's anchor, would stay behind, a ghost of what might have been.